Is Mr. Elmhorst with the help video for the math lesson, writing equations from tables and graphs. We're going to identify the independent variable. So the x is always going to be our input variable, and the input variable is also the independent variable. So that is going to be the candy bars, and we can just shorten that to bars, and that's going to be represented by the x-axis. The dependent variable is going to be the output, and that is the total cost, and that's always going to be on the y-axis, the dependent variable. So now we start on the graph. Once you have the graph, it's best to start with x is 0, 1, 2, 3. So every time you have an x, we look at the output, and we go from 0 up to the line, and that's going to be a 0, 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, and 3, 4. We take a look at this. Is this going to be an additive or multiplicative rule? This is going to be additive. And the input to this situation, you could use C or B, candy or bars. I'm going to say that it's bars. And the rule is adding 1. And there's two ways to write it. So I think let's do B plus 1 is equal to the output of cost. But as we write it on the graph, we use a linear equation format, and that would be C is equal to B plus 1. So going to the second example, we have our independent variable of hours, and that is going to be located on the x-axis, and then the dependent variable of lawns mowed, we can use L for lawns. And starting with 0 for x, 0, 1, 2, 3. As x goes into the graph, then we have the output of 2, 4, 6. So is this an additive or multiplicative situation? This one's going to be multiplicative. And every time, every hour is being multiplied by 2. And that's going to be the output of lawns mowed. But in linear equation format, we're going to, the lawns is the output, and that's coming from 2 times h. Just by looking at this next graph, it goes through the origin. And when it goes through the origin, we automatically know nothing is added, so it is multiplicative. And we have input, output. X of 1 goes in, 4 comes out. 2, 8, 3, 12. You can see that is a multiplicative rule of times 4. We have hours for the input, and then cars made as the output. Hours and cars. So every hour is being multiplied by 4. And that's how many cars are coming out of the situation. But in linear equation format, we're going to write it as cost, or the cars is coming from 4 times the hour. This meaning 4 every hour. T-shirts ordered. We could use shirts. and that will determine the cost as the output. Depending on how many shirts we order, what the cost is going to be. But it looks like there's a starting charge of $20 when X is 0, Y is 20, 10, 30, 20, 40, and 30, 50. We'll double check here. 10, 30, 20, 40, and 30, 50 as our input output. X is 0, Y is 20, so something is being added to 0. And we look at the shirts plus $20 to place the order is going to give you the total cost. Linear equation format, cost is coming from the shirts plus $20.